let's talk about physics or practical. You see, physics is one of the science subject and practicals are fundamental in how much you are going to do well in your exams, especially for the science or students. Okay, so if you are going to be a nurse, a doctor, an engineer, a structural engineer, etc. So practicals are fundamental because these are things you do with your hands. You draw a lot and you construct, you do a whole lot of things. Okay, so that is why in external exam, if you fail the practical, you are not going to get the pass mark, okay? So you must take your practical seriously as a science student. And in physics particularly, your graph should be well plotted, okay? So a graph without a title is considered not to be a graph, okay? You see a lot of students that do very good graph, but there's no title. Even your scale is also fundamental. Your scale should accommodate the points you have, I mean the values you have on your table, okay? So both for the x and the y axis, all right? And sometimes WAEC or NECO, sometimes they confuse you, they use a different language. Instead of saying the x and the y axis, they give you something like the abscissa and the ordinates, okay? So the abscissa is the same thing as the x axis, while the ordinate is the same thing as the y axis, all right? So whenever you plot your graph, your pencil lines should be as light as possible, but should not be too light anyway. But and it doesn't mean that it should be too dark. You see some people they plot graph and it looks so rough, and the pencil line you see double lines or multiple lines, so it will not make your graph to have any mark at all. Okay. So, and then when you plot your points, if for instance you have a point here, you have another point here, another here, there may be another point here, maybe another one here, okay? Your goal is to join at least minimum of three lines. So if we join these three lines, for instance now, there should be at least one on the other side and one on the other side. You don't join any three line and the remaining ones are on one side or on the other side. Okay, that is another standard you must maintain in your physics or graph. Okay, so you must ensure that your graph, I mean, title is well written at the top, and then there is space for the scales also. All right. And sometimes they ask what are the precautions taken to ensure accurate result. Okay, so you should use a reporting language, something like ensure that avoid interference of external influence, like maybe drought or air from the window or some other things. Okay, during your oscillation. So there are a lot of things. I ensured my wires are well connected to the terminals. These are some things you do to avoid errors in your practical. So you use report language in this particular case, okay? But most importantly, you need to relax while doing your practicals. You don't need to panic and avoid unnecessary or mistakes, okay? So like this table now, you have mass, you have time one and time two. Normally, you take the average, which is time one plus time two, all over two, okay? And period normally is the time taken for one oscillation, okay? So if there are 10 oscillations for each of these, you divide by 10, okay? And the period is squared here. So these are some of the things you need to know on your table when you plot your graph. But remember, a graph without a title is no graph at all. Thanks.